Do you ever wish that you could set up your own personal infinite content machine? An espresso machine that doesn't spit out rich aromatic coffee, but endless streams of convincing blogs, articles, explainers, videos, perhaps questionable podcast intros, just like this one? Well, listeners, grab your screwdriver, your API keys, and your safety goggles. It's DIY time. I've been thinking about this, Nick, for a while. It's highly unlikely that my children will actually have to wait for the next Avengers film as long as I have. That week-long agony we faced for new episodes of Severance, or back when we all collectively hated Game of Thrones Season 8, that probably won't be a problem in the future. Why? One simple thing: an infinite content machine, endlessly personalizable based on what users want and need, questionably. And guys, I'm going to teach you how to build one.
Yeah, immediately I want one. You brought up some stuff with the whole Season 8 Game of Thrones thing. Like, there's lots of things still unresolved that I need to process. You are talking about a beefed up fanfic engine, right? Like, and ultimately, who wouldn't want that as a starting point? But beyond that, I think there's something genuinely exciting about the broader creative possibilities here. So think kids who never saw heroes that looked like them in, say, Marvel or any other Pixar, Disney, them getting to create their own versions. So I'm thinking Moana, Mulan, and then go forward from there. I mean, race, gender, however they need to see themselves or are not being represented at present. That's not just entertainment. That's identity formation. That's huge.
And the education cell, entertainment is one thing for sure, but dare to dream about what this looks like for learning. I've wrestled with educators about whether learning needs to be explicit or implicit, and I think there's room for both, and I think that implicit learning is best for developing some of those human skills that we've discussed at length on this show. And what's going to be more implicit than learning through incredibly personalized, infinite content that teaches you the value of habits, creativity, humor, and so much more while you're just, enjoying yourself? But here's the thing, and Mary Shelley would appreciate the irony here. We're essentially talking about building our own Frankenstein's monster. We're stitching together content, algorithms, and data and shouting, "It's alive," when we get an output that we like. Listeners, I'm going to give you the ingredients, the method, the workflow to create your own personal content machine. This isn't going to be pretty, but it's going to be simple enough to build. Ladies and gentlemen, build your engines. Step 1, you need an AI model as your base. We've broken this down before. You could use multiple models for a consensus approach, or you could stick with one. You do you. You could go ChatGPT as a reliable all-rounder, Anthropic's Claude as your 1970s Buke, bit of flavor and personality, probably Gemini as your one-stop shop with a bit of a manual engine, I must say. You could also go completely open source. It'll be like building a kit car in your garage. Sure, it's fun, it's cheap, you know where every part comes from, it might explode a little. Your call. For this example, I'm going to use Gemini. Why? I want my output to have some video elements in there and some audio elements, and VO3, which is the Google platform, is just too good. If I was going with something more interactive at this stage, I'd probably use Claude to create an artifact or an experience, and hey, I still may.
Yeah, I'd largely agree with that. Gemini's video abilities with sound are just too good to ignore at the moment. I mean, their Imagine 4 image generator is just sick as well. That said, a quick moment to praise ChatGPT. If you want text in there as well, they're probably the best of the lot at the moment. Topically, I was having a wonderful conversation with a Pathways English teacher recently who's doing some really innovative work with ChatGPT and anime. Long story short, he's got a class full of teenagers, famous for their lengthy attention spans and excellent engagement attributes, on the edge of their seats with how he's getting them creating, I think it was Attack on Titan, panels using specific target language constructs. So learning key vocab and grammar by creating personalized anime content. It's super exciting stuff.
Now let's get to our example. We need content and lots of it. The good news, AI models eat almost everything. They're multimodal, so images, text, you name it. I've seen ripping examples of dads using their kids' drawings, turning them into living creatures from a single photo and giving them a story around that. Amazing. The bad news, ethics and copyright law. Endless averages. Like Dr. Frankenstein selecting his materials, you need to be careful what you're feeding your creation. These models are what they eat, so ensure the diet is full of trustworthy content rather than, say, the darker corners of Reddit, unless that's what you're going for. Hey, you do you. For this example, I'm using Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. It's public domain, and thanks to Project Gutenberg, Gemini already has access. In terms of my moral high ground, my intention here is to create something I feel is genuinely unique and original, within reason. So first step I did was I made sure it had access, and I got to break up the chapters with a theme per chapter. I'm only interested in the high-level vibe of this book. Here's the fun bit. And where our Frankenstein metaphor really comes to life. What are you creating? Something incredibly unique or grounded, just in another world where gravity is lighter? Want to explore what happens if Harry Potter never defeated Voldemort, if Jon Snow stayed dead, if the meteor missed Earth and humans evolved alongside dinosaurs? Generally, the possibilities here are infinite. You get to world build. For my Frankenstein approach, I'm keen on using the themes for a contemporary style, high concept sci fi show. Bring in that AI flavor. I'll develop the world, tinker and mold to what I think I'll find exciting, and then create some visual and audio materials to get a feel for what it actually looks like. Nick, do you have any good examples of this? Have you been doing anything like this? Are you excited as me?
I play around with these kind of things, like, in between meetings, sometimes in meetings, if I'm completely honest. Like, I mean, but things I've seen or heard, like, murder mysteries, right? So generated through fake Instagram stories from the suspects. Or an alternate history where the Beatles never broke up, right? So delivered as a series of interviews spanning decades, complete with new album reviews and releases. Or we've done other fun things. One thing we've been exploring with the aviation program is crash scene investigation. So getting the different points to, just to bring this back to education briefly, different points of view from the insurance company, from witnesses on the site, and all the other parts in terms of that. Extraordinary.
The world is getting very exciting. So the Frankenstein project I've been riffing on is the perfect case study for this. You don't just get one thing, you actually get an entire ecosystem of content, as long as you ask it. First, you've got the high concept TV show itself. It's a sci-fi thriller, Echo of Eden, sure. That's the anchor. But when the machine can immediately spin out a prequel manga series called Project Chimera, done in the style of Ghost of the Shell, exploring our protagonist, Dr. Sharma's descent into the obsession before she even created the AI, which is the Frankenstein parallel, or you go interactive. We mapped out a found phone game called helix.internal.log using Claude's interactive experience in the Claude canvas, where the audience becomes digital detectives sifting through a framed programmer's laptop to uncover the conspiracy. The thing I love about these AI experiences is that with the genuine creative nature and generative nature of this, you not only get to build the experience, but experience the creative flair that these models take. You can be really directive, but you can also be incredibly experiential. But it can be even smaller, creating the texture of the world. The content machine could generate the sleek corporate website for Sinister Helix Corporation, which is where the doctor works. A transcript of Dr. Sharma's chillingly optimistic TED talk. It could even write the secret tell-all blog, The Programmer Who Was Framed. All these pieces aren't just random outputs, they're world building. They're making the story feel richer and more real time every time you engage with a new piece of it. Nick, I'm almost out of breath here. I'm just so excited and I'm trying to be optimistic. And I've tried to keep the cynicism out of my voice, and hopefully you caught my use of Frankenstein as more than just a clever metaphor. I really do hope I haven't been too subtle here. Because here's the thing, much like Victor Frankenstein, we're dealing with forces that we honestly don't understand too well. AI still is a black box in that space. It's incredibly capable of elegant lies and confident mistruths. It has zero shame with such conviction that we start to trust it, and people are beginning to feel really guilty about correcting it. We're also delicately sidestepping the ethical minefield of derivative content. How much do you need to change something before it's actually new, original, and good, objectively? Nick,
Yeah,
this conversation's been missing a black hat, so play your role,
you
sir.
ran. Yeah, thank you, thank you. I mean, black hat on, I think you're asking some big questions there. And I think my immediate reply to the infinite content engine, the thing that worries me is we're effectively building a factory for making what Leon Furs has called digital plastic. So infinite digital plastic. The negative to this is I'm so pro this. I think this is so much fun, right? I think that there's so much that could be done. Particularly, I just love the creativity with kids. You know what I mean? The bonding moment with a parent and their kids, the engagement possibilities. I referenced that teacher with Attack on Titan and getting these teenagers who otherwise couldn't care less on the edge of their seats, engaging with content and wonderful stuff. But how much derivative fan fiction do we really need before we completely drown out anything genuinely new? And then the copyright thing isn't just about fairness, it's about incentive. The barrier to entry used to be that technical skills and resources, right? You need at least Photoshop or Premiere Pro and a beefy computer. All of that's gone now. I don't know if you've seen the new Liquid Death video,
Yeah,
completely,
so good.
right?
Yeah.
Wild, man. Completely AI generated with VO3, and the quality is just insane. So when making professional grade fan fiction is just a matter of VO credits and patience, why would anyone invest in developing new IP?
And I think there's a silver lining here, Nick. I appreciate it. I forced a black hat on you because I think there's so much good about this, and also like it does remove those barriers, which has always been a thing around how content's generated.
Mm.
And I haven't completely given up hope either. This human-led content stream might actually help combat what Cory Doctorow called the enshittification of the internet a few years back, and that's the phenomenon where platforms sacrifice user interests to relentlessly monetize. I won't look at any particular social media platforms, but we know a personal infinite content machine is uniquely user first. But that raises another Frankenstein-esque question. If everyone creates their personalized reality, where's the community? Where are the conversation starters, the water cooler moments? How do we maintain shared cultural touchstone? Is this amazing machine just a vehicle for building echo chambers? And this is where I think we need something that I'm going to call the board of standards. It's an adult in the room. The official timeline is, if you will, because nothing screams fun like bureaucracy managing creativity.
Yeah, it's an Overton window thing, right? I mean, you referenced Game of Thrones and Severance earlier. Others might reference things like, I guess, Bridgerton. I'm not some of those others. This is why I'm losing my way with these. But I think there's a lot of value in those shared cultural touch points. When you say user first and everything, I'd agree, and I'd hate to lose those shared moments, those shared touch points. I'd hate to lose those, but then it's a tricky business to put all that power in the hands of a few. I don't know how you do it anyway, right? Like, look at how people are using YouTube and the rise of content creators like Mr. Beast. I think there'll be new mediums and content emerging that we can't even imagine yet. So maybe the solution isn't trying to control it, but figuring out how to navigate it. I mean, your infinite content machine might solve the waiting problem, but it might also solve the bonding over mutual fascination problem, right? And I think that's not necessarily something we want to optimize away.
I'll give you a real example that I think is both hilarious and troubling. Recently, some entrepreneurial creator made a vlog featuring Erin Patterson. It's an Australian woman who was accused of poisoning 3 people with deadly mushrooms at a family dinner. And the AI-generated content showed the accused killer foraging for mushrooms, asking hardware store staff for food dehydrator advice. It was disturbingly lifelike, I'll be honest, humorous, and people are obsessed based on the engagement. We've also seen Vlogwarts. It's a Harry Potter parody with British wizards who look viciously like Ron and Harry, having contemporary wizarding experiences complete with modern slang, bong smoking, ice making, and teacher heckling. Audience-generated contents that receive something like 20 million views and 2.5 million likes for a $200 Google subscription. That's crazy. And HBO, who everyone knows HBO is a premium content house, are spending absurd amounts of money to create a Harry Potter TV show that they'd be so happy to get even half of that engagement. Whilst the board of standards helps in this space, they probably step in and recognize some of these works as derivative, not part of any official timeline, much like we distinguish between peer-reviewed research and wild speculation about what would happen if Newton never discovered gravity. But I'm starting to wonder where the zeitgeist takes over. The conversations become louder on this kind of user AI-generated content. What role does IP have here? Here's the bottom line. The infinite content machine is like an all-you-can-eat buffet. But the moment you see someone duck their head under the sneeze guard or watch the staff load in those bulk prawns of questionable origin, you have to consider what you're ultimately consuming here. Nick, what do you think? Are we building useful tools, useful experiences for educators, for learners, for society? Are we creating monsters that we can't control? Is the age of content abundance generally good for society, or am I wearing rose-colored safety goggles while playing with fire?
I think the key word there is tool, right? These map to the vision, intent, and execution of the user. I mean, I can see nothing more wonderful than some of those videos I've seen online of a kid drawing a picture for their parent and turning it into these lovely videos. Like, how amazing is that in terms of that for a child, and all the way up to those teenagers that I referenced who couldn't be asked with the class, who are now just locked in and smashing it.
I think you're right. It's a tool, and I'm pro tools that lower the gatekeeper phenomenon that we have in so much of this. And so I think if it is a tool, then perhaps it's a tool to create things that are unique and original. And that's the conversation needs to be happening. Fan fiction is one thing, but how often before? And there's brilliant fan fictions that have spawned new original franchises. Let's look at Twilight. Apparently, I don't know too much about that. I swear.
Yeah, but end of conversation. No, fair. It's meant to be good. It's meant to be good. That's fine.
I've heard good things. Pay no attention to the books on my shelf.
Yeah.
But I think this is one that, in general, we all just need to have more conversations, more understanding about, to understand how we as humans are comfortable with this. Well, listeners, thank you for tuning in. If you haven't already, please leave us a review, share us around within your network, and most of all, hit subscribe, whatever platform you are at. For those watching on YouTube, we are on all your favorite podcast platforms, and those who like to see our lovely faces, you can find us on YouTube too. We'd love to tell you what's on next week's episode, but it's a world that moves way too fast, so just have to tune in. Until then, stay curious, stay intelligent, stay the human in the loop.